Compliment the board on the expanded agenda. I think that's very useful. I think it'll help promote the public comment period and keep the comments more focused. Having said that, I only have 6 brief items. I'll cover them all quite briefly. I have more detail. I even kept with the Ronald Reagan philosophy of keeping things to half a page. If anybody wants it, I have copies for everybody. With regard to the minutes of March 19th, y'all have to forgive me. As y'all know, I was outside a good bit of the time and on the telephone, so I don't know whether there was any discussion about revising the employment agreement for Ms. Edmonds. If not, I think that would probably be a good idea. I know 3 of the board members weren't here when the last one was approved. I think everyone in looking over it, if you have looked over it, would note that it has some obvious problems. And so it would be my recommendation, if you have not done so, to schedule for a future board meeting revising the employment agreement. And if you want specifics, I can give them to you privately. I'm not gonna air this publicly. But I think anybody who remembers that employment agreement will recall the obvious problems that exist in light of recent developments. I don't have anything to say on any of the applicants, other than I am a little bit curious as to how a single board member, apparently without board action, was able to accomplish a license not being renewed, not mentioning any names. All I got was a reference to the June 20th, 2011 meeting. And I can tell you at the 11:22 mark of the video on that meeting, the individual said in his defense that he would not be making a decision like that. It would be the board who would make it, and I have that video. So with regard, that's 2 of the items. With regard to the financials, there are numerous auctioneers who have contacted me, want to know where things stood on the requested fee waiver that we made. As I'm sure you are aware, I informed them that you and I, Ms. Vandenkamp, met briefly prior to last meeting, and I was told that 509 prevents that. That's all I was told, so I'll let y'all elaborate at this time as to what 509 is or why it apparently precluded a license fee waiver. And then I would ask how 509 stops the license fee waiver for those over 65 years old for approximately 17 years. With regard to the attorney contract renewal, I would like to just ask, are any other attorneys considered for this? The attorney contract hasn't been bid out since 2009, my first year on the board. And also I'd like to have resolved that the board has written evidence on file that Mr. Alkiri is a malpractice insurance policy. And I will certainly be making a request to see evidence of that in a subsequent public records request. With regard to NAA convention, I have the legislative auditor's minutes from 2002, which this board discussed. There are only 3 individuals who can be approved to attend as far as board members, the NAA convention. Those 3 individuals would be Ms. Steinkamp, Mr. Sims, and Mr. Little. And I have those minutes from 2002 if anybody wants to see them. The LAO clearly said you can only send officers and they must be going in their capacity. I do not know why the board chose to ignore those legislative auditors' directives. In 2005, 2006, it was one, I know there was one year they voted to send everybody, but that's in direct defiance to that legislative auditor's directive. Finally, the lease. I guess we're probably going to be using this facility just like the IDB is. Which obviously was free. You can't beat that. I think this is an excellent meeting facility, but it does beg the question that when we asked the IDB to pay their half when we've stayed over there, they said, too bad for y'all, we're out of here, and now the LALB is on the hook for $17,446.15, strictly for that boardroom over there. That's the allocated 252 square feet multiplied by the lease rate, $17,446.15. So I'd like to know if there's any effort to looking at procuring another place in light of the fact. Now I've got 4:30.
Okay, we're okay.
All right. In light of the fact that they're obviously going to use this and we're obviously going to use this, I want to know if there's any effort to look at getting us another place now that we have a boardroom that basically nobody needs, us or them. And with that, I'm done. I did hold it to 4:49.
Thank you.